ways that I've noticed that Scott is a good communicator. He knows a lot of people on campus. Anytime he sees anyone, he goes up and talks to them. And more than that, he also just kind of tells them about things that are going on campus, which I think is another helpful way that's not really something that you can write on a platform, but just being able to know different people, talk to them, let them know what's going on, as well as creating new venues of doing that, which is something that we're definitely going to look into, different potentials of just, talking to student organizations, going to their meetings, and doing things so that all students are be able to know what's going on, as well as we will be able to listen to them.
One point that we actually didn't put on our platform, it was more of just a value-driven idea, was the idea of the Turk and Bernet report, which would be a little bit of a playoff of the Colbert report, but we would hope to integrate students in that manner as well, and make it not only fun to listen to the information, but receive the information as well.
Thank you. We'll pass the same question to Ally and Emily. It's really about communication.
Yes, sir. Austin, I'm really glad you asked that question. I think that it's valid and legitimate to be addressed. First of all, we have an entire section on communication and transparency on our platform. We have several points. The first would be to deliver a State of the Students address. Currently, President Culver delivers a State of the University address, but there is no State of the Students address. We think that that's extremely important and beneficial. We would gather faculty, staff, administration, and of course our students to be transparent in what SGA is doing for us. We would do this in a press-style type format. This is the first point on our communication and transparency section of the platform. Secondly, we'd like to create online videos that would be showcased at least once a month to the students so that we could directly have some FaceTime for people who wouldn't be able, or say they have a class conflict, not able to come to student or government association. We would like to reach out to them in that way. We think it would reach a different audience. We already talked about the ethics statement. We think that's extremely transparent. In terms of how I operate with communication and transparency, in Panhellenic, I'm really glad you asked that actually, I always, continually, every executive board meeting and every general council meeting ask for feedback, questions, comments, concerns, complaints, anything that those people in that organization wanted to hear from me, how I could better serve them, how I could better be a leader. I know Emily has done the exact same thing. We see each other as servant leaders, servants of the students, and we hope to implement that through our platform. Emily?
Sure. Ally highlighted this section of our platform on transparency, and transparency is really a theme throughout our platform, not just in that section, but also to touch on Ally's communication style. Throughout the whole process of campaigning, Ally has been very open to me, very honest with me about how we're doing, how things are going, and I think that that's very important that Ally is able to tell it like it is and be honest with the way things are going. So I think that's a good trait to have.
Thank you very much. Do we have other questions over here? You can clear your throat as he approaches.
Hi. This past year, SAC and SGA paired as the only pairing that can gain points in a homecoming. So we paired together to participate in events and everything. So how important do you think it is for SGA as an organization to get involved in activities throughout campus that aren't necessarily put together and run by SGA?
Okay, so we'll start with Ally and Emily.
Thanks very much, Kate, for that question. We appreciate it. First of all, during this process of running, campaigning for these positions, we have already integrated ourselves into activities that weren't put on by SGA, that weren't put on by our own organizations. We have gone to the Project Greenway fashion show, which features sustainable clothing made out of recycled materials, basically. We have the STEP show coming up this Saturday, which is a multicultural student initiative partnered with an NPHC fraternity, I believe, this year. It rotates every year. We also had on the agenda for a Bears baseball game, however, it was quite rainy and cold that day. What else have we done so far, Emily?
We visited a variety of organizations as well to find out what those other student organizations are doing. And I think as far as our platform goes, Ally and I have an idea of the Ultimate Missouri State Fair, and that would encourage our members of SGA as well as the student body to get involved with other student organizations, to attend their events, to support those events, as well as some other initiatives on campus, whether those be public affairs events, if those are athletic events, if those are events sponsored by fraternity and sorority life, or SAC, whatever those events are. That is a way for student body to support those events.
Already this year, President Sweat and Vice President Mellish allowed us as a cabinet to go to the Chinese New Year, which was a great time. We had a really fun time here as a cabinet together, and it also showed that organization that we're vested in their interests, that we're vested in them as students at Missouri State and their initiatives, their roles. Like we said, we've already spoken to quite a few organizations. At 2 organizations, one being by Gala, which is now being called Spectrum, and the second, Association of Black Legions. We spent 30 minutes each at those organizations communicating with them, talking about their needs, talking about their wants, and really trying to be open and honest with them and trying to get them to communicate with us as well as empower their voice and empower our voices as students.
Thank you. And the same question for Scott and Emily.
We are blessed on campus to have an organization like SAC that provides such great entertainment for us. And so with that, we would definitely highly encourage individuals, not only through SGA, but through all of the other different organizations on campus as well, to integrate and to communicate with each other and very specifically engage. Whoa. There we go. And very specifically engage within those organizations. So with that, what we hope to accomplish is a integration, a way that students can communicate to each other by wide varieties, which is included in our platform under the text messaging service that we would like to be made available to students, where students would be able to receive text message and text message updates to let them know of new events and different events that are happening on campus.
And with the text message updates, it's something that Scott and I can use within Synod as well. So we hear about an upcoming event that we think is really great. We could text our senators and be like, hey, go check this SAC event out. And that can be a way as well that SGA senators can get involved in other organizations. We've noticed that getting involved just among each other seems to be a widespread problem. And it's something that we really want to address, ways to just encourage students to go to other students' events, other groups that they may not feel comfortable going with for whatever reason, and just kind of foster new communication.
And as far as things that we've done in the past to increase this communication, I know specifically going back to Greek Week, there was this step show that Ally actually referenced. We allowed them to speak at the halftime show to encourage all students that were in attendance to the Greek Jam, over 2,000 students, to encourage them to purchase tickets to this organization's great and awesome cultural experience, as well as we would like to specifically ask every single individual to engage themselves and back up the different organizations on campus to support them.
Thank you. Do we have question number 3? I see a hand there. And then after that, I saw a hand on this side.
There's been a lot of talk about how SGA doesn't currently fulfill the needs of addressing all the organizations that are on campus. How specifically are you planning on integrating more organizations and getting their voices to be heard?
Okay, so we'll start with Scott and Emily on this question.
I don't think that we are currently stating that SGA isn't doing its part to fulfill those certain students needing to be filled. What we are seeing right now is that students aren't engaging in SGA as highly as we would like. That was our main point. Now, specifically how to engage these students, again, focusing on their voice, as is listed in our very first point of our platform, by listening to them and engaging them, we will see that they will want to be a part of this organization and engage themselves in a fun manner, because it's not all policy in Student Government Association. It really isn't. I've met some of the most strong and passionate individuals that have led to several different organizations that I've attended because of Student Government Association. So it's encouraging them to take part, to actively love and enjoy every minute that they spend in the organization.
And I've also noticed that just whenever you are working on something that students are widely interested in, that's another way to get students involved, telling them that something will affect them and it can be positive and they want to get involved in that way, and that would be really great for SGA and as a campus environment as a whole.